Darkest greetings to everyone in this time of the season of Hecate. Welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. This is me, Oberon, with Goth Tarot. It's the weekly exploration into the shadow issues of our life. And for the entire month of November, we have been dealing with the concept of the dark passenger. There they are. And that comes from the Cries of the Soul's Oracle. So we'll get to that in a moment. I wanted to say something. Gee, Mr. Oberon, Banshee, you sure have a lot of tarot decks and oracles. And that's because both of us believe in sharing the art and beauty of the tarot and other oracles. And so some of our shows are an attempt to focus on particular decks. I do that a bit here. Banshee does that with her show. So just wanted to address that. We're not showing off necessarily. We are very proud of our collection. And of course, we are grateful for the ability to amass this collection. All right, didn't want to get too heavy there, but let's start off proper then, and we're going to do a meditation or an oracle reading from the Oracle of the Hecatean Path. And as I mentioned, this is Hecate season. Hecate season is Halloween season, I suppose. The ancient Greeks celebrated Hecate, the goddess of all witches, the queen of the witches, on several days a year. One of them was this last Sunday, November 16th. So I'm going to do that reading from the Oracle of the Hecatean Path. Perhaps we'll get a little insight. Philaremos, the lover of solitude. Retreat. Philaremos, lover of solitude. Retreat. Now is the time to focus inwardly on self-care and reconnecting to our practice. The magical maxim to keep silent also comes to mind. Now is not the time to talk about our devotions or even our love of the goddess. Focus on finding your own way to her rather than helping or relying on others. Withdraw, reflect, process. Silence is golden. When we are still and truly listen, only then do we hear our truth. Let me show that beautiful card again. I've been feeling this way myself, this sort of sense of wanting to be more inward for a long time. I know some of this is connected to a couple factors. The most recent one is that um, I had a mild stroke at the beginning of the year, somewhere in February, and my recovery's been pretty good, but it's never going to be perfect again. There's just going to always be some little situations with that. It may take years for my brain to reorder itself or to heal itself. And like Banshee says, we don't have years. And that's not because, of course, we're older. That's part of it. But it is just because of the state of the world, I think, to the sense of things that are totally out of magnitude and will need so much work to repair if it can be done. And so it's doubtless that there's a lot going on. And taking that retreat to find yourself really, or to see where you do align with all of the many changes in the world. One of the reasons I'm devoted to Hecate, even though I don't have a very active or incredible practice with her, um, but I've long felt for many years that Hecate has been appearing to people in their dreams or in their readings or in their rituals. And all of those have happened to me in the past because we led a number of public rituals for Hecate Night. But Hecate has been telling us for a long time the world was going to be turning into kind of what we're seeing now. And in order to fully prepare ourselves, we may, in our own ways, need to find that sense of the retreat and the being still and listening for that special voice. All right, then. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, we were working with the Dark Passenger from the Cries of the Soul Oracle. And the Dark Passenger seemed to be a way we could deflect, a way we could, disacknowledge our role in what was going on. I'm going to read again the wisdom of that. Wait, I want this screen here. There we go. And that affirmation there was, I create a sympathetic inner dialogue. And so it's basically talking about how we use our sense of our own low self-esteem to avoid conflict or to avoid responsibilities. The wisdom. As soon as you hear my cold, monotonous, and negative voice, all your senses are on alert. I activate your sympathetic nervous system, and you find yourself filled with dread. I constantly remind you of your failures and make you think you are alone in the world and can only depend on yourself. I am the voice of your dark side, your suffering, which envelops you in dismal and painful energy. I don't believe in beautiful surprises, happiness, or love. So you can see there's a lot tied up in there of feeling like you just want to submerge yourself deeply into this shadow. And in a way, that kind of like disguises it so that people don't even realize this is such a shadow issue for you. Um, they may get it when they realize that that feeling of despair and low self-esteem, I can't stress that more, feeling that you don't have the ability because you're not worth it. So now we're going to take a moment. We're going to update the work of dealing with this. How have we actually been progressing as we try to repair how this shadow limits us and traps us into thinking there is no way to combat the sense of low self-esteem and self-failures we have? Remember what the first card said, that first card being from the Oracle, the Hecatane Path. This is really a time to withdraw and be still and just listen, not play the blame game or not do other things that typify that codependent low self-esteem behavior, but listen to our inner voice. So I'm going to use the Erethereal Shadow Work Tarot. That's the back of it. And we will pull one card, and this card will be our update. This card will tell us, hopefully, what it is that we are finally, getting to the point, how we are getting to the point. Are we evolving here? And I have pulled the Ten of Cups, but the Ten of Cups is reversed. Let's put you up there. So the Ten of Cups being reversed tells me a thing or two. It could very well be that if we are trying to work through these issues of low self-esteem, but we are in a codependent situation, family-wise or support group-wise, we may be getting feelings or emotions from those other people or situations that don't help us build back the self-esteem. In fact, just keep us there and maybe treat us like we're not important, treat us like we're just joking ourselves that we can work on these issues. So it's very important for us to realize that another meaning here in the Ten of Cups is that maybe we can't necessarily feel emotionally bonded to those people. It's very codependent, and that once we can get better and process our codependency with these people and maybe pull out of the feelings of despair and failure, we would have different and better relationships with those people. And in fact, maybe they would work on their own issues because they see you becoming the stronger person you need to be. So that was the reverse Ten of Cups. All right, I'm going to move our opening meditation down over there. And now we're going to work on some other shadow work stuff. I think it will actually correlate a little bit. First, we are moving to the concept of the dark avatar. The dark avatar is a persona or image or aspect of ourselves that may embody this idea of the shadow. In this case, perhaps we're focusing on the dark passenger. And so this is sort of another way that we can kind of pretend it's not really us, it's an aspect of us, or it's us when we're under different kinds of pressures or influences. So for that, I'll use the Lost Soul Tarot, because this kind of avatar is a lost soul. You are putting the concepts about yourself that need repair into something else, and you're being able to say, it's really because of this that I have to be like that. So what is the dark avatar? It's the reversed King of Cups. Considering that our update included the reversed Ten of Cups, I find this interesting. The reversed King of Cups says that maybe we project the idea, the avatar, that we're just that kind of person that doesn't need or have emotional bonds in our life, and that we don't look for empathy or harmony in our relationships with people, and that in fact we drive a hard and possibly cruel bargain. And so, in other words, to mask our low self-esteem and or the idea that we can't deal with this, we may enact as a bully of some sort. It could be more of an emotional bully. We could just be sort of bullying other people so that they don't come back to you and say, but you have this, you have that problem, that kind of thing. It could just be a way of keeping people away so that they don't notice how much we're suffering, because we're not proud enough about ourselves. We don't care enough about ourselves to try to heal. We just sort of feel we're dealing here. So that's the dark avatar. That is a projection from ourselves in order to hide the shadow. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next card in this reading, and that is the Dark Trick. I'm going to use the Joker Tarot for the Dark Trick. And the Dark Trick is the actual trickery or distractions we also use in order to fake the fake imposter syndrome, or in order to shift attention, distract from ourselves, our pain, but also our unwillingness to deal with this. That in some ways, and I hadn't thought about this before, or I hadn't expressed it before, but having the dark passenger also allows us to be a martyr. And when we're a martyr, then we can get a lot of other people to do things for us, whether they're physical tasks or whether they're giving us money or support of some sort, or also to make excuses or to feel sympathetic enough to explain ourselves to other people who wonder why in the heck this is going on. What's going on here? So we're going to look, cards were a little slippery there, at the Joker Tarot and try to decide what is the dark trick. Well, it is Goth Tarot, so no wonder we have all those reverse cards. The dark trick is the reverse Two of Pentacles. And of course, so this is not really telling us anything we really should know. Maybe it just helps clarify it for some of us. But with that reverse Two of Pentacles, our dark trick would seem to be acting like we're okay with the mess in our lives. We distract people by saying, no, this isn't really a problem. We're okay with this imbalance. We need the chaos in our lives because the chaos does blah, blah, blah for us. We're chaos oriented goth people or whatever we are. Trying to decide if there's anything else there. It could just also be saying, no, you don't see our life as a mess. You're wrong. That's not what it is. We're not a mess. We're actually really okay. Thank you very much. So it's a little bit of both of those, perhaps, or to differing degrees with people. But that's pretty much what I think the dark trick is trying to shift the blame by shifting the urgency of the focus or balance in our lives. Alrighty then. So I guess that means we are ready. Where's that other deck? There they are, right in front of me. To move on to the Dark Horizon. And the Dark Horizon, simply put, is how we find a way to own either or both of these qualities better, to make them work for us, to not try to use distractions or personas that say we don't care and that there's really no issues going on. So in order to do that, I am going to use the Night Sun Tarot. Night and sun, dark and light. It's about the balance, right? Mr. O has a lot of problems with his cards today, but he's going to get better. He swears he will. So we're looking for the dark horizon, the way to find the balance here, and or the balance with the major issue of the dark passenger. Let's take a look at that. Yay! It's the Ten of Pentacles. I say yay because earlier we had the Ten of Cups as the update to the shadow work, and that was implying to me in a way that some of this was tied up with our support groups, our families, how we dealt with them or how we didn't deal with them, and of course that there could be codependencies and all that other stuff I like to talk about. I'm showing all the cards now on all the stages here. So the Dark Horizon says, find the family you need to find. Find where the true support is. Not necessarily false emotions or codependent emotions like that Ten of Cups reverse may suggest, but actually true unity, true support, true foundation that's suggested by the Ten of Pentacles. And of course, I get it. You know, some of us may say we don't have that in our lives, but it doesn't mean we have to stop looking for it, or it doesn't mean we have to figure out how to find it within ourselves. Remember our opening meditation retreats. Step back from all of this. If it's way too much, step back. Step back and listen and be still. And in doing that, maybe you will find something that will lead you there and that will help you. I'm going to close now with a meditation from the Dark Light Oracle. And the meditation is brief. It's really just listening to that. But there will be an affirmation that maybe will be helpful to us too. So let's do that. And we've used the Dark Light Oracle here many times now, along with some of my other oracles. So I wouldn't mind occasionally getting a little more feedback. I know there's a very nice fan out there who always gives me feedback on Goth Tarot. I wish her well. I know she knows who she is. Judy. Thank you, Judy Conda. Alrighty. So here it is. It's masks. And I'm going to put you in front of the Dark Passenger for the moment. I think I'll move these out of the way so we can just focus on masks. Behind the folding screen. Message. Something here, or is it someone, is not what it appears to be. We are all wearing masks from time to hide our true feelings and thoughts. But today I am coming to warn you that you should be very careful. People are not always telling you the truth. Duplicity, manipulation, deceitfulness, and hidden matters are all around you. Stay on your guard. Don't rush into things. Don't take anyone at their word. Sharpen your powers of perception and try to find what is really taking place behind the screen. Affirmation. I don't trust too hastily. I keep in mind that people can wear a mask and hide their true feelings and thoughts. I proceed carefully. And in the context of the overall Dark Passenger and other shadow work we're doing here, I think this could be a warning that if that isn't an actual person like that you may have to have dealings with, it could still be a part of yourself too. The idea that it could be maybe, you know, somehow related to the avatar you project, you know, or something like that. But please take the warning seriously. I'm going to throw all the cards together one last time again. So this was from the affirmation, the masks, and I'll put that there. And of course, earlier we had retreat. So I'll leave that there. And then we had the Ten of Cups along with the Dark Passenger as the update. So I thank everybody for coming today. I know it was a little long, but I hope you got something good out of it. Next week we'll possibly wrap up the shadow work for the Dark Passenger. And then, of course, in December, Banshee and I will start a new round. So thanks for coming, and I'll see you next time.